And we are live once again, shooting the shiz with DK and the Schwag with my co-host, the Kemper Killer himself, Brett Wagner. And tonight we're going to be talking ScareFest, my dude, with me, Miss Adrienne Elder,
Hey,
the
exactly.
superstar behind the curtains of
That's right.
ScareFest.
It's like Oz, the great and wonderful Oz, except
She
it's
is.
Adrienne Elder.
We're going to have to call her Adrienne Oz Elder.
There we go. I'll take that name.
There
I
you
like
go.
that.
Yes. What you guys did with ScareFest last year, I absolutely loved it. I've talked to you about this a few times. I told Brett all about the event. I raved to everybody what a great time I had at ScareFest, because even before we started the stream, I told you I didn't even know if I was going to go to this event. It was kind of a last minute thing, and we made it, and I'm so glad I went. I had the time of my life. It was a way to end the con season for me, and I was like, that is the first convention I'm definitely booking again next year.
Awesome.
And
Adrienne,
was-
I had to listen to it for the last 9 months. Knowing John, I've had to listen. And that's, he said he had such a good time that you guys provided so much cool stuff for the people that buy a ticket to come in, and more importantly, for the vendors and all the guests that are there signing. So that's why I pushed so hard and kept emailing, and I'm sure Brandon's tired of my emails and everybody else. And I was pushing so hard because, ScareFest is a destination, right? It's not just a convention. It's become this destination spot.
Yeah. That's it's crazy, and I know we haven't really had a chance to talk a lot before the show, but some people don't know this, and some people do. It's one of the first things I mentioned about the show. I've actually been doing ScareFest for 16 years. So I was at the very first ever volunteer meeting for when ScareFest started, way back in the day. I was 17 at the time, and the first ScareFest happened. I had just turned 18, and they brought me and some of my friends in, and we got to meet some awesome people, and had some really great stories, good experiences. And I ended up getting really close with Patty, who was the owner of ScareFest at the time, and she and I worked really well together. And so ScareFest, for me, as of next year, I'll have been doing ScareFest half my life. I'll be 34 years old, and I'll have been doing ScareFest for 17 years.
Wow.
So, for me, when people talk about the show, I take it really personally, because I put so much time into the show. And whenever we bring people in, whether it's vendors or guests or attendees, our staff, we call it our ScareFest family, because we really genuinely, when we have someone come to the show, we want them to feel welcome. It's a community. It's not just an event. Like you were saying, it's a destination. That's true. The horror community is the best group of people that exist. And just in general, they're wonderful people. And every time, you come to the show, there's this really, the vibe there is just great. And everybody is happy and welcoming. And that's what we want to do. So really excited to have you with us this year, Brett. And it's gonna be a great time, and I think you're gonna love it. And I'm really glad that people are gonna be able to meet you this year.
Hey, listen, I'm super pumped. Now, talking about, you were saying this will be your 17th or 18th year. Do you remember back when you first got together to get into that thing? Was there any conventions in the Kentucky area at all, or was this like, because was this a need for something where they said, hey, we have a need for something because there's not many shows out here?
So at the time, so it was 2008, so 16 years ago. This is our 15th show because COVID, we lost one. At the time, I had never been to a convention ever. Like I said, I was a senior in high school, and it was a word of mouth. I knew somebody that knew someone that knew Patty, and we were big like horror movie buffs. We watched movies all the time. So the way that I understand it is there was Patty. So Patty Starr was a ghost hunter. She just retired last year. She did the Bardstown Ghost Walk and the Lexington Ghost Walk. So Patty wanted to do a paranormal show. And then they had a friend, his name was Jeff, and he wanted to do a horror show. So they got together and they did and like, I've got one of the original posters behind me, and you can see it's like, it's half green and it's half red. And you've got like the flashlight on one side and the butcher knife on the other side. And that was like the amalgamation that they did for that. Now, I don't know how long Horror Hound Weekend has been going. I want to say Horror Hound, and I know that Texas Frightmare is 17 this year, and Spooky Empire is their 20th year. But as far as in Kentucky, I don't think there was anything. I don't think that there was really anything at all. I mean, we were so small the first year. I mean, the convention center we're in now, even with our ticket booth and everything, like it wouldn't even take up a third of just the vendor hall that we're in now. But it was fantastic.
Do you remember some of the guests that were at that first one?
Oh yeah. So that's the 2009 poster. This is the 2008 poster here. So we've got Michael Berryman, Tony Todd, Bill Mosley, Tom Savini, who's coming back.
Wow.
Harry Manfredini, Adrienne King, she was there in 2008, which I thought was super cool. We spell our names the same, so she and I hit it off. I know that Victor Miller was there that year. Kane Hodder. Let's see if I can read any of these other signatures. PJ Souls, David Naughton. And that's all I can read. So there may be some people out there that know.
I mean, that's a powerhouse right there. Just those people right there. You could put on a hell of a convention with just those folks right there.
For a first convention too. That's
for
a
God's
stacked
sake.
lineup.
I'm an idiot. There's
Lord.
a list here, right? Friday 13th reunion. Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, and I loved Miss Betsy. Was wonderful.
Wow, lucky Rita.
Victor Miller, Harry Manfredini, Ron Milkey, Ari Lehman, and Tom Savini. So yeah, those we did Friday night. We did midnight movies at the Kentucky Theater there for a while, and our midnight movie that year was Friday 13th with the cast introductions, and then we also did Poltergeist.
I had two great franchises there. I love Poltergeist, and you can't go wrong with Friday 13th. And this year again, Brett will be back. He must have just gotten booted.
About to say, where did Brett go?
He got mad. He took off. He's like, I'm not on that first poster. I'm out of here. But no, you guys put on a great event, and you got a stacked lineup of people already. What do you have? Over 20 guests?
I think that I think we've got 20 announced. I was looking at my spreadsheet here. We're probably about a third of the way. I think we'll probably land somewhere between 60 and 65 this year, just kind of depending on how everybody goes. But yeah, let's see. We've got 4, 6, 12. Let's see. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 29. Well, and 30 if you count Pablo Escobar.
Oh, yeah. Well, how can you not count Pablo? You know, you got to count Pablo.
You know, people thought that, so one of the shows, I can't remember who it was, they did an April Fool's joke that they were bringing Pablo to their show.
I saw it.
And then we remembered, like, we had announced him on ScareFest TV, but we never put his banner up. So on April Fool's Day, we posted his banner, and everyone thought it was a joke. And the actual taxidermied cocaine bear lives in Lexington at a museum. So he will be at. So
the real cocaine bear. He won't be signing autographs, I don't think, though.
We'll see what happens.
There might be somebody could bring him back from the dead. You know, so John, I mean, I've been going up. So I've been making appearances up in the holler up there in Prestonsburg and Pikeville, off and on for 10 to 12 years. So I love it up there because someone's always got a jar of something to taste. And not that I'm a big drinker, Adrienne or John, but once in a while, some blackberry moonshine, you know, it will hit the spot right. So I love the area up there. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. If you love horses, obviously, you're in the right spot up that way. But yeah, there's got to be some good food too, right? I mean, I know my one of our mutual friends, R.A. Mihailoff, you know, R.A. loves a good barbecue place. And so he's, you know, already been hitting me up saying, well, there's some good places up there. So
yeah, Bill Mosley also, he absolutely loves barbecue. And so every year, that's one of the things that that we make sure that there is some barbecue somewhere. I actually had some really great barbecue the other day at a place here in town, and I might see if I can go in there and get to talking to some of them ladies that work in there and see about having some catered. That would be awesome. And also, while you all are in town, there is a restaurant. Actually, the last time RA was in town, we had dinner at, it's called Nick and Norman's, and it is Norman Reedus and Greg Nicotero's restaurant, and it's in downtown Lexington. It's just a couple blocks from the convention center.
wow.
And, yeah, and RA, when Nicole was telling him about that, he ended up bringing an 8x10 because Greg's company had designed his mask. So he did a signed 8x10, and the manager came over and he was like, how's y'all's dinner? And he was staring at RA. I mean, he's kind of an imposing guy, just sitting down eating, you know. And RA told him, he said, I brought this in for you. And he was like, I thought you looked familiar. And so they hung it up there behind the bar. But I thought that was pretty cool that they chose Lexington. And of course, one of the originators of The Walking Dead is from Cynthiana, right outside of Lexington, and that's where the comic was based. Is actually not in Georgia; it's in Kentucky.
And
Very
speaking
cool.
of The Walking Dead, you have some Walking Dead cast coming.
We do, yeah.
Two great ones for any Walking Dead fans.
Yeah, and hopefully we might have a few more to announce. Waiting on some scheduling things to happen there, but we've definitely got some feelers out on some other folks. Unfortunately, some of the people we've already talked to are going to, well, not unfortunately for them, because filming and making content is what we want. We wouldn't know a lot of these folks if they didn't work. So but hopefully we'll be, now that the convention that had the exclusivity to that show isn't happening, hopefully we'll be able to bring in some more cast members from that too.
Why don't we?
Well, do you want to say which? It's Chad Coleman, who played Tyrese, is going to be there, and I'm a huge Walking Dead fan.
Yes.
And Emily Kinney, who is Beth, and one of the, a lot of people loved Emily, the Beth character, so much, and we're so bent when that. I remember that whole thing, and people were not happy when that happened.
It's been long enough now that I don't feel like an asshole. If you've had enough time, if you haven't seen it, sorry for the spoiler alert, but when that happened, I came unglued. That was probably for me the most traumatic incident so far in the show, because it's so unexpected. Like, you're there, you're almost back, and then just
so close yet so far.
It was cruel.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very excited for Chad and Emily. And like I said, with any luck, we've got the jury still out on 3 more. So I won't say anything.
Well, I love it. I mean, once I know I got my Walking Dead stuff that's been boxed away for some time, I'm ready to break it out. I showed Brett those 3 Negan statues, resin statues, one of 1,000 ones.
Oh,
I'm bringing it all. Oh yeah.
See,
I was a huge Walking Dead fan. I haven't watched the last season.
Me either.
I hate to say it. I just, just lost it after the Whisper War. It was the same thing with the comic for me. I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
Great actors, great actresses, but it's just unfortunately up until the prison was my favorite. Up till the prison was my favorite.
No, not last year. I'm getting my wires crossed. We had Lou and Vincent the year before. Lou
Temple
and Vincent Ward, from
Yep.
the prison, and Lou was also in Devil's Rejects. But that was probably, I think, about the highlight for me too. I mean, that was just like, that was the best. Now, there was, hold on, I have to see. I can't remember if we've announced him. I can't say anything yet. I feel like, no, we haven't. Okay. There is one more that we have confirmed that was briefly in The Walking Dead. So if you're a Walking Dead fanatic, you may guess it, and I won't confirm or deny if you get it right. He was
Robert Patrick.
He was in one.
That would be nice. That would be nice, though. He was great last year. I got my Arnold over there by my buddy Lonnie McCullum. Yeah. Robert Patrick signed it, and Brett's good friends with Robert Patrick, so Robert put me on the phone with him. It was cool. We had that black light cut out. I gave it to him. Brett brought it over to the shop for him.
Nice.
So such a cool, down to earth guy. I told him, I'm here like, I walked by him and here like my buddy the Schwag told me to say hi. He's like, fuck that guy. He did. And then he turned around. He's like, I'm just kidding. I love Brett. It was funny as hell though, because he's got my sense of humor too. I'm like that too, really dry. But he's joking. It was hilarious. Such a good dude though. All the guests were great.
So how do you guys have been doing it so long. So how do you guys go about coming up with the guests? I mean, because I know there's certain people, the Bill Mosleys, and some of these people you can bring every year because they're such fan favorites. They're so good with the fans. So let's say there's 10 people you can always bring. How do you guys go about getting the rest of the folks?
A lot of ulcers and gray hairs are involved.
Yeah.
So typically what we do is actually some of it kind of spills over. So for this year, like we've announced some of the Terrifier 2 folks. We had already booked them before last show because they weren't available last year. And like, I really wanted them to be there, but David was in Manchester for the Love of Horror. So we had already done a verbal on that. So some of the booking is done like, hey, if you can't make it this year, we'll make it next year kind of thing. So some of that, but typically what we do is it's kind of crazy. We'll sit down. It'll be typically it's me, Brandon, Wes, Nicole, sometimes when she's available. So we have like a war room kind of set up and we go through and we make a spreadsheet. And it starts out at about 150 names.
Wow.
So depending on the franchises that we're looking at, what movies are having reunions, those types of things. If there's someone new that hadn't really been doing shows, or maybe they've done one show, or an agent calls us and they said this person's never done a show. Yeah, we may build something, around them on an odd year, like a 23rd year instead of a 20th or a 30th or 40th. So we start out real big. We look at headlining guests, who might be available, what we would be building around that person. And then it's kind of a cluster after that. So we get a basic outline and we start putting feelers out to reps and seeing, who is available, what kind of requirements that they're looking at, because of course you've got the financial side of it where we have X amount of a budget for guarantee requirements. And most folks anymore, if they're used to doing a certain amount at a show, they know what they'll make and what they can look at. So they'll come in just under that and be like, I can comfortably say I'm going to make this if your show is, what I understand it to be. So we have it's kind of like in the NFL with their when they're doing their team building and everything, they've got their salary caps. It's kind of like that. We've got to look at, all right, well, we can't bring in 6 people that say they need to make $100,000 because our houses, we can't do double mortgages for everybody's houses. So that's something you have to take into consideration. And then there's a lot of politics to it. Some of the agents that you work with, they'll say, I want one person from somebody. I'll be like, what are this person's details? And instead of just telling me, they'll be like, well, we think you should bring these 3 people. Okay. We want this person. So it's kind of like there's a little bit of a give and take on that. So
Art of negotiation.
Yeah, it's something like that. So it's really involved, and it does take some time to piece everything together, but it normally works out really well.
I don't think you can.
I was going to say, did you find when you guys got to a certain point with your convention, that's when you had a lot of because you guys are established now.
Yeah.
But there must have been a point where, okay, these people are really doing good, and you might get some friction going there, especially like you were saying with the agents. But now you guys are at like a certain class of conventions. Right. You guys are a top convention out there, no matter what. And do you think now that makes a bigger difference than maybe halfway through, where it was like they'd feel like they had more of a pull on you, but now I don't want to say you guys got the power, but right. They want to be there more than you trying to get them there.
Exactly. So with the show, and that's a really great way to put it. So, basically what it is, our responsibility as a show is, we need to market and bring people in, and we need to bring in people that are interested in what's going to be at our show. So, and it's the same like with vendors, we want people to come. We don't just want to sell booth space. Like, we could sell booth space to just about anybody. There are a lot of people that we turn down for space at the show because it's not in line with what our fan base is interested in. So, but yes, we definitely, the last couple of years, and I love to make things work for people. I think a lot of people would do well if they came to our show. Unfortunately, we don't have 300 guest spots. And the last couple of years, I was approached a lot by reps or people directly saying, hey, I'll buy my own ticket. I'll buy my own hotel. I just want a table. No guarantee, no flight, no per diem. Just let me in the show. And there comes a point when, it's like, I understand and I would love to have you there, but we just physically don't have space. We're going to be putting booths in the men's room. And that's kind of what it came down to last year. So it makes a lot of it a lot easier, especially when the reps and some of the people that have been doing it for a long time, when they go to these bigger shows and they know what their people can make there, then yeah, when it comes down to it, it's very black and white. You say, this is who we want. They send you a list. You say yes, and you're done. So it's not as much of like trying to convince someone why they should come. It's, like, hey, I'm with ScareFest. Like, all right, where do we sign? Kind of.
Yeah. So this is like Convention 101 here, folks. So if you ever thought about, hey, listen, I want to do my own convention, you're getting right now. Just don't do it in Kentucky. But if you're doing it somewhere else, but you're getting some good info right here. So I hope folks are taking notes.
And, I'm glad you brought that up because up until about 3 years ago, because almost everybody that does ScareFest has another job, another career. I worked for Toyota manufacturing company. So I built Camrys for 9.5 years. And that's when I was just volunteering with the show. And basically at that time, what I did was about 6 weeks before the show, I would come in, set up flight details, transport, celebrity liaison is what my job title was. Basically getting everyone set up, figuring out what everyone needed, those kinds of things, which is awesome because I love it when people have a good time. So figuring out food allergies, mobility issues, all that kind of stuff. And a few years ago in 2019, we had a little bit of a rocky year with some of the people that were on our staff. Brandon and Nicole had only owned the convention for a couple of years at that point. And we worked really well together, but because of my other job, I just couldn't be available full time. So when I stepped down at the factory and went to part-time, Brandon approached me and he was like, I need you to run this show. Like, we need to work together, you and me. Like, what can we do to make that happen? And it was a big adjustment, going from what I had been doing into what I'm doing now. And then, of course, our very first year together was COVID, and it was so unpredictable for a while. And then we weren't going to be able to do a show. And, but from then on, it's been like, we have a dream team. Brandon, Nicole, Wes, and Anita, when we get together and work on stuff, it's great. But I've had several people in the last couple of years, since I've kind of become a public face to the show, approach me and ask me about, hey, I want to start an event. And that's great. I would encourage anyone that could build up the horror community in any way to do it. Absolutely. Even if you want to come to Kentucky and do it, great. But I will tell everyone, running a convention is nothing like you think it is. And I've had at least 3 conversations in the last 12 months with people who really had their hearts set on doing a show. And after 30 minutes of talking to me, they changed their minds. And I'm being objective about it, being like, these are all the things that you need to consider. These are all the things that people don't tell you about. And the name of the game at ScareFest is transparency. If it's not written on a contract that has a non-disclosure statement, I will talk to you about it. So I tell people very matter-of-factly, if you want to make money, if you want to keep your hairline, if you enjoy not having bleeding ulcers, don't start a horror convention. Don't do it.
That's funny.
That's it.
Yeah, I got to say the one thing I love about ScareFest, and I told you this, we talked on the phone quite a bit the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. I think it was like the day before. I think I lose track of days.
Me
like
too.
it's I can only imagine. But you guys are always so good. I was even talking about is it Rachel? I want to say Rachel.
Rachel is amazing.
Yes.
Rachel got literally. Let me pause you for a second. So Wes Forsyth, our media director, has a saying for ScareFest: if you hang around long enough, they will give you a job. And poor Rachel, and if she sees this, she's gonna laugh. But Rachel literally got conned into doing the vendors for us. Our vendor director was a caregiver for her elderly parents. And after COVID, she wouldn't come out of the house, which, I totally understand that. She also had an immunocompromised child. And she told us, she's like, y'all, I'll help you as much as I can, but I can't come to the show. Well, you can't have a vendor coordinator that's not at the convention. We can't do that. So Rachel had been doing, Brandon and Nicole have another show. It's called the Central Kentucky Mystic Market. It's a small show that happens once a month in Lexington. And Brandon's like, well, hey, Rachel, why don't you just help me out with the floor plan for ScareFest? So she helped him out with the floor plan for ScareFest. And then he's like, why don't you help me email some of these vendors? And just slowly. And then she'd always say, anytime we were in a meeting, she's like, this is not my job. I'm not doing ScareFest. I don't care about ScareFest. I'm just helping out. This isn't my baby. And then now she is the goddess of vendor directing. She's wonderful. And all of our vendor booths were sold out by April 1st this year. And it is her second year being the vendor director. And everyone talks about how phenomenal she is. And I can't agree more. She is wonderful, but she'll tell you she got, she really got tricked into it. She didn't want to do it.
You got to be careful. If you do something well in life and you enjoy it, right? And you're like, hey, I'll gladly help you out. But if you do something really well, you got to be careful, because those people may go, hey, can you come back again and help us out? And then all of a sudden they want to say, hey. So you guys really, once the convention ends, maybe is there like a week off and then you start going to gangbusters again? I mean, it's a year-long process, right, to get everything booked.
It is. So actually, and that's another thing I think a lot of people don't realize. So when ScareFest, we set up, the show floor starts getting set by the convention center on Tuesday. It's completely set by Wednesday afternoon. We bring our whole staff in, about 150 people. We do a walk around. We look at all the booths and everything. and then vendor load in starts on Thursday. So we can bring a lot of our big stuff in on Wednesday, and then we've got all day Thursday to set up, and then the morning on Friday. On Sunday, the show closes at 5, and we have to turn the keys back in with the building empty by midnight.
Oh,
by midnight. So
you might not be able to get John out of there by midnight, for God's sake.
I was the last one out last time. I'm always the last one out. I usually am. I gotta wait. You guys did the best you could with it, and I thought it rolled really smoothly. Everybody got out really well. But it was, I mean, you had a lot of vendors. You had a lot to get out of there to get done by midnight, ending at 5 and getting done by midnight. And you guys did fantastic.
So we ended up last year, we had 2 show offices in the back on the dock, and we ended up cramming a lot of stuff in there. And then we weren't supposed to, but they let us put a bunch of stuff on the loading dock that we couldn't get out by midnight. So we didn't actually leave the convention center. I wasn't the last one out. I left the convention center at 2:00 on Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think Brandon and Adam, our security director, they probably left around 5 or 6 with the last U-Haul out of there. And normally we've got so much going on the rest of that week. And Brandon runs another business, and Nicole is a director for the business that she works in. So they've, had all of their stuff backing up, and they got to get right back into that. And then normally I take about a week, like you were saying. My brain is kind of like Jell-O. I just come home and I can't, just nothing. And I tell people, like, don't call me, don't text me, don't come to my house. I tell my family beforehand. They know I'm going dark for a few days, and then we start rolling right into it. And it's been really rough this year, and on a personal level. So the first we did the 21st through the 23rd were the show dates last year, and then we come back and I have my normal mental breakdown for a week after the show, rolling into the 1st of November. And I'm thinking, like, all right, I'm gonna get at it. I went and got myself a gym membership. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go, and because ScareFest kicked my ass. I'm getting old. Walking around that convention center for 4 days kicked my ass. And I'm like, I can't do this again next year, y'all. Like, I'm not gonna make it. Go and get a gym membership. And I did really well the first week. And then I had an uncle who was sick with cancer, and he went into remission, but his lungs were really severely damaged. And the doctors were like, look, man, you got to come off this machine. And when we turn the machine off, you're going to die because your lungs aren't functioning anymore. So that was horrible. It's my great uncle. That was awful. And so we're getting over that. And Saturday, my mom passed away unexpectedly. So it was November 12th, the day that she died. And I don't remember anything about the rest of November. I had to move her out of her townhouse and all of this, so I didn't have to pay rent on her townhouse. She wasn't married or anything, and it's just me and my baby brother. So that was rough. And then the holidays, coming out of the holidays, our media director, Wes, had a heart attack.
Oh.
So we have been going through the gauntlet with personal issues on the planning side, the planning team. But I think here in the last couple of weeks, we've got a really great direction on everything. Selling out the vendor booths, all of our VIP packages sold out March and at the beginning of April. And all of that, it's not something you really got to think about anymore. Like, you don't have to worry about this or think about that. And we can really focus on building some unique events happening at the show. I know at Brett, we had we touched on maybe like some of the celebrity events that we do, and how you'll be maybe coming into town a little bit early and things like that. So last year we did Killers on the Rocks, So I know we got horse racing here, but Kentucky's also got bourbon. And we ended up doing a really fun bourbon tasting event at the distillery next to the convention center.
Don't threaten John with a good time there.
Don't do that to me.
So yeah, you know, but normally that was a long-winded way of saying yes. Typically we have about a week of downtime and then we roll right into the next year. So it's a year-long thing, definitely.
Why don't we talk about, since you are the event manager amongst a whole bunch of other stuff, why don't we talk about some of the stuff that the folks that are you know, that are coming this year might get to experience? Is there some stuff we can talk about?
Definitely. So one of the events, like I had just mentioned, was the Killers on the Rocks. That is something I just talked with the distillery last week, and they are excited. Whiskey and horror, perfect combination.
Yes,
it
I couldn't agree
man.
more.
So they're really excited to look at scheduling that again. Now, the only thing about the Killers on the Rocks is because of our late show hours, that does have to be like a launch event. So more than likely that will be a Thursday afternoon for the folks coming into town early. But it is a very limited. I think we'll only be selling 25 tickets to that. It is a pretty small.
John, you better get on that, buddy.
I know. I think I'm heading in like Wednesday. That way I can get a good night's sleep and be ready Thursday and pick
Hell
away.
yeah, then we're gonna
Friday
get
morning.
you real drunk, and then you're not gonna be able to set
That's
up
all right. Well, that's fine. I'll hire some people. Who
Um,
wants to work? Because I don't.
Exactly. One of the other great events that we have this year that's guest specific is Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton
Yes.
are going to be hosting their podcast, Talk Scary to Me, live after the show on Saturday. So that's something that I'm really excited about. And we haven't really advertised it too much, more than just kind of like on our group page. And the room I was originally going to put them in, it's already a third of the tickets capacity that I had imagined is already sold. So we may have to look at moving that into a little bit bigger of a space. But that's something we can definitely do, because I would really like for people to get to experience that.
Yeah, that's very, those two are very popular, and their podcast is super popular. And I may or may not have just got worked with Scout Taylor Compton, and may or may not have just killed her in a movie. So very excited. That would be a great thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key thing too. And John was talking about it. You guys at ScareFest try to do all these cool things for the folks coming in. So it's not only, oh, listen, I bought my VIP ticket, I get to come in early. It's for everybody that, like, oh, there's music playing. There might be there's some panels with some cool people talking, which, by the way, I'm available to talk with John. But you guys provide all this cool stuff for the folks. So it makes it like, you know, it makes it very memorable, and where people want to come back the next year and see what you got going on.
Yeah, and we do try very diligently to always have a couple different things happening around the show. So like for Thursday, though that is a ticketed event, we will have a free event on Thursday, which will be the horror trivia. And that typically starts at 7:00 on Thursday, and it's like our launch party. But they do cash prizes for that. There's team, I think last year, and I don't quote me on this. This is off the record, unofficial, because I said something last year and they hadn't said it, and then we had to honor it. But last year we did a $200 cash prize for the winning team. So that may or may not be what's happening this year, but it could be.
Can't confirm or deny.
Can't confirm.
Yeah. Hey, that's competitive horror trivia. You know, we do it in LA. There's a big one once a month in LA, which a lot of the, you know, the managers out here, a lot of the actors go to. And I, you know, being a very big horror guy and grew up, you know, I became an actor because I loved horror movies.
Yeah.
I get over there and I'm like, I know none of this stuff. There's people that know horror trivia that are so good. And so that'll be exciting because that gets competitive, especially if there's some cash prizes up for grabs.
I can't stand it. I never feel so stupid as when I'm in one of those with some of these guys that are like a dictionary. Peter Anthony's one of those guys.
Peter
is definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, and I'm the
encyclopedia.
same way. People will be over here talking about something and like something obvious though, and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I am just here to smile and look pretty.
I've learned the art of the nod too.
Nod and smile. Nod and smile. Yes, yes, I feel you.
Now, you mentioned that you had 150 people that donate their, that come in and work. That's pretty impressive. That's a lot of people. But when you have thousands upon thousands and thousands of people coming in for a weekend you need a lot of people to donate their time and come in. And how do you guys do that? If someone was like, oh, I would love to come help and donate my time, and how does that go about getting 150 people in there?
So ScareFest staff is, and it's STAPH because we're infectious. So come get you're infected by staff, and which some people every year we end up having celebrities ask us if we can give them a staff shirt because they think it's the funniest thing. So I'm going to see about getting some extra ones printed and brought to the show this year.
5XL.
Noted. You know what? Actually, I've got a whole bunch in my closet. I'm going to go look when we're done.
Oh, look at you.
Well, I'll take a 4XL just in case.
4XL.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
Suck it in. He's been hitting the gym.
I have been.
Broad shoulders. So I have talked to some other people on our staff that volunteer for other shows, and it seems to me like we have a little bit of a unique way of doing the way that we kind of work our staff is we actually do meetings all year. So we have a meeting every month for our volunteers to come in. We do staff applications, and we ask a lot of pretty specific stuff, and we have a volunteer coordinator who does amazing spreadsheets and gets everybody lined out, and then she sends those to all the different team leads. So for example, I'm still the team lead over Stars Row, and where we bring our celebrities in. There's 3 sub teams to that, but I'm over that general area. So I'll send out a pretty quirky email to everyone and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what we do, and just kind of get to know everybody. But a lot of our staff come back every year. So they're used to my antics by now. But we do in-person meetings. We do like a staff holiday party. We try to really bring people in and keep them close. And a lot of the folks that do ScareFest, and like I said, it's our ScareFest family, and anytime there is a death in a family, someone gets sick, someone has a baby, we have a Facebook page where we're all on there together. It's just for us, and so we stay close all year. And whenever we plan events, sometimes we'll do, like when Cocaine Bear came out, we did a ScareFest staff night at the movies, and we invited anybody that wanted to come out and see the movie. Sometimes we go to haunted houses, things like that. So a lot of us really build that up, throughout the years. Some of the folks that volunteer, we've been doing it together for 16 years.
Wow.
And I mean, like, I love them. Like, they're very dear to me. So a lot of us are really close, and we go to each other's houses and text and everything all the time. So it's
a family.
It is. And it's like a lot too. I actually pinned, if you go to our Instagram account, I just learned how to use Instagram last year. You all should be proud of me. And I'm trying to build that.
I'm still learning, and I got Instagram. I'm terrible at Instagram.
Well, on the Instagram, I think I have it pinned to the top. There's a photo that we took Wednesday last year. We all got together for the walkthrough, and someone took it from the stage, and it's all of us sitting just in front of the entertainment stage. And it kind of gives you an idea if you've never been to the show. If you look at the floor planning, you see the little box that's marked off for the entertainment stage, and then you see all of these people in this photo and how huge the area is. It kind of puts it into perspective. But the people that come and donate their time to build this show, a lot of times when I talk to them or we do meetings, there's normally a little bit of time where I get pretty mushy, and I'll almost cry if I talk about it too much, just because this show changes people's lives. It really does. it's brought so many different people together and created bonds and friendships that have, you know, lasted for years. So it's not bringing people in that's the problem, it's getting rid of them.
Well, I understand what you're saying though too, and it even goes for vendors. A lot of
Yeah.
the vendors, after years, you see each other year after year, or
Oh my
the
God.
customers that come just to see that vendor. Adam Newsom's here. He goes to ScareFest a lot. I got to meet him in person.
Yeah.
Love Adam. Has a great show himself. So give him a little plug. I also want to touch on one thing that kind of includes ScareFest. Now, Brett's been a busy man. You mentioned Desert Fiends. He's in the Evil 3 that just the trailer just dropped yesterday.
Oh yeah.
He's also in an upcoming movie with, by Steve Merlo called Unseen.
That's right.
And they just announced this co-star yesterday. So now you got another theme going. Felissa Rose is going to be co-starring with Brett in Unseen. And Felissa's also in a movie I'm a producer on, Slasher Nurse. And also she's in Xander Goldman's Macabre Mountain. Is it Macabre Mountain? Yes. I believe that's what it's called. Yes. So busy lady, and Stream by Michael and Jason Levy, who also worked on Terrifier, associate producer.
Yep.
So big shout out. So there's a little bit more coming to ScareFest that they do. So co-stars Brett and Felissa Rose, who's awesome. I love Felissa. I've met her a couple times, and has to be. We talked about her a little bit yesterday too, about how, you know, no matter what and where she goes, she's just, everybody loves her.
And I was just having the same conversation with someone a few days ago about Felissa. Like, she is and I know that I think we had talked a little bit about it on the phone the other day. I've literally never once ever heard anyone say even a neutral thing about Felissa. Wow. It's always just grade A, top tier. She's phenomenal. And I love having her at the show. Absolutely. And seeing her at other shows. You won't find a better lady.
And that leads me into my next question. Favorite horror guests? I mean, you've been doing this a long time. I don't want to get you in trouble, but you could throw, I mean, we know you love Felissa and she's a great guest. Give me a couple other guests that are like, for you, that are just, you really dig having coming in.
All right. I'm going to pretend like I have to think about it.
Okay.
No. Okay. So for me personally, and I don't think I've ever told him this exactly because, you know, whatever, don't want to get too mushy. But the very first year we ever had ScareFest, like I said before, I just turned 18 right before the show. And I had volunteered to help with transport. So I drove a 94 shitty Corolla, which I couldn't drive anybody around in. So I borrowed my stepmom's Beamer and had a GPS back then because cell phones didn't like have all the fancy whatever. You had data and roaming and shit like that. So I got tasked with driving Victor Miller and Bill Moseley to the airport to catch a flight. And we had the remnants of a hurricane coming through Lexington at that time. There was walls of rain. There were tree limbs all over the interstate. And my GPS died and we got lost on the way to the airport. And I was freaking out that I was going to kill Victor Miller and Bill Moseley. And that's what I would be known for forever. And everyone would hate me. But they were the coolest guys. They never seemed inconvenienced. They never seemed stressed out about anything. And we did end up getting to the airport totally on time. They caught their flights. Everything was cool. And at that time, the whole reason that I loved horror, and I can't exactly explain it. It's a great movie, but The Devil's Rejects is like my favorite horror movie, hands down. And Otis is my favorite horror movie character. So I was already, I don't want to say starstruck because it wasn't that, but I was so excited to get to talk to Bill over the weekend, and Victor was wonderful, but Bill really made an impact on me then. And because, you know, they could have been, you know, like rightfully irritated with me, and they weren't. And we've had Bill back to the show several times since then, and he has always been just a wonderful, wonderful person, you know, to have conversations with, and you know, just always laid back. And like I said before, like Bill loves barbecue, and the lady that reps Bill, Judy, is a very dear friend of mine that, you know, I've gotten to know very well over the years. And just the last time I saw Bill, he had some of his Corn Bugs CDs with him. And I said, I can't believe you have these. And I was like, I haven't seen these since 2008 ScareFest. And he picked them up off the table. He opened them. He signed both of them and handed them to me. And he was like, well, here, you keep these two. I mean, just, you know, without a thought or anything. And so I guess I would probably say that I just think that Bill Moseley is the coolest dude since sliced bread. So I love.
I will agree with you. He definitely is. You know, I've gotten to, you know, run into him and meet him at different conventions. And, you know, if you are a new actor or you're an actor who's new doing the conventions, right? Mm-hmm. There's two guys you can watch and see how they handle the fans, how they handle the lines, how they handle people in stressful situations. Because sometimes it can get stressful. Yes. If you have 400 people in line and, you know, you got to get up out of that, you know, that off your table because you got to go do pictures now. And there's still 100 people waiting. And you can watch Bill Moseley and you can watch Doug Jones and watch how they handle the crowd and the people. And if you can watch those two and learn from them, because I love sitting next to Bill, by the way, so you know, just in case he's got a booth next to him. But you can watch him how he handles everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember we got to go have dinner at Frightmare in the Falls up in Canada.
Yeah,
and he's such a cool guy, and he's so nice, and he's like, I think I've shaken, you know, 35,000 hands this year, and he gives a lot. He gives back a lot to the folks, and he's very kind with everybody. And so is Doug Jones. We call him the hugger because Doug will hug everybody.
Yeah,
and you know, those two guys, that's who you want to, if you're going to be doing the conventions. And, you know, me and John are doing a lot of conventions as of late, and starting, you know, this month coming up in May, we're going to be all over the place. But you want to be nice to the folks, right? You want them. I want Adrienne Elder and they say, hey, the Schwag was so good with the folks. We want to bring them back.
Yeah.
And you don't want people, you know, saying, oh, that guy was rude, that guy was short. You don't ever want to do that stuff because, you know, we're blessed that we can go out and make $1 by signing an autograph from a movie I was in 20 years ago or whatnot, or a TV show I was in 10 years ago. And we are blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you hit the nail on the head. Like, I've had in the past couple of years, I've had some folks approach me that, you know, they're our actors and have asked me about, you know, doing shows and things like that. And I've had a few offers to actually rep people and try to get them into other shows. And while I would love to help people and do that, as far as like being a rep, not for me. Won't do it. ScareFest is my home, my place. And but I always tell them, you know, like, of course, especially the people that are just starting out, that haven't done very many shows, you know, if you ever feel like something's off or whatever, I'll let you know objectively, completely. You know, don't let people treat you like crap. In some shows, unfortunately, that happens. But that's one of the biggest things that I tell people is exactly what you were just saying. You know, you get what you give. And but on the other side of that, also, for anybody that's listening that goes to shows as an attendee and they go to meet folks, a lot of times if someone seems to be standoffish or grumpy, and I know me personally, over the years, I've had some issues with anxiety and crowds and jet lag and things like that. I've noticed over the years, for the most part, when people aren't, you know, when they're not huggy, when they're not chatty, when they're not outgoing, it's not because they don't want to be, and it's not because they're mean people or they're rude. A lot of actors that I've worked with seem like they have social anxiety, and when you're behind a camera or you're playing a part, it's like a mask. when you're standing across the table and people are, you know, telling you things, it can get a little bit overwhelming. So I have noticed a lot that several of the guests we've had over the years do actually really struggle with anxiety.
Well, you could be signing. Plus, you know, listen, if you're there for 8 or 9 hours signing, you know, all day long, you may not be able to even take a break to go eat sometimes. I mean, I hate to, I mean, I know John too, and some of the actors, I hate personally to get up off of my table because I feel like I'm going to let someone down. I got to go, you know, I'll be back in I got to go do a Q&A or something. And I feel terrible that I'm getting up from that table because the whole point is to be there and shake hands and kiss babies.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Or shake babies and kiss hands, you know, whichever.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, and that's another thing, like, that we've done over the years at the shows. We have like a team, what I was saying before about having our Stars Row folks. We've got 3 teams that run our celebrity area. We've got the security team that is just for Stars Row. We've got our general security team, and then we have a specific team for our celebrity area. And then we have our handlers, our babysitters, as some people like to call them, and then our runners. So that's another thing that I've seen as I go to other shows that seems to be a little bit unique to ScareFest. We actually have a team of people. Their whole reason that they're there is to make sure that the celebrities don't need to leave their table for anything they don't have to. They go and they bring bottled water, they bring snacks, food, stuff like that. And the girls that run that are the most badasses ever. Had 5 girls that ran 73 booths last year, and they knocked it out of the park. So that is one thing. Now, we don't do the little like urinal things, like bring your pee to the bathroom for you and stuff. Like, you actually do have to go to the bathroom for yourself.
Oh, you don't bring them a Gatorade and say, here's your toilet too when you're done.
Exactly.
You don't. Oh, wow. Yeah, where's the VIP service when you need
Thank goodness.
You know? No, you guys have a great team that you guys last year, like everybody I found was really, really great.
I can't say
from
enough.
you to Brandon to Rachel, just everybody that I ran into, and the celebrity guests you had, all of them were incredibly nice. Like Bill Mosley, like you said, that was my first time meeting him. Such a cool dude. Brian Bremer, we talked about him. He was such a great guy. Nick and Nick Benson, Mick Strawn. I've done a few events with them. Love those 2 guys. Great guys.
Nick and Mick.
You know, yeah, Mick and Nick. I mean, I get their names tongue-tied half the time. I had them on the show a few times. It's like Mick and Nick, you know, you get a little confusing with the 2, but they are quite the duo. They are quite the duo. Great guys.
I love teasing Mick because I don't know if you all ever catch ScareFest TV. At the end of ScareFest TV every week, we do a pre-recorded movie review from Bonehead Weekly. Joe Lewis is one of the Boneheads, and he does movie review for us. And he and Mick are buddies, and I always tell them like that they look alike. So I always be like, you know, your son or your nephew, or like that bastard nephew of yours has really screwed up this time or something. And the guy is just hilarious. I love Mick.
Well, let's be honest. His dog gets him in a lot of conventions. His dog is like, yes, that dog is like the superstar of ScareFest. Yeah, he's got this little dog, most chill dog. I don't know. I think he gives it a horse tranquilizer or something because that thing don't move. It just sits there and chills. Such a good dog. Such a good dog, though, and everybody just loves it. I mean, you can't walk by his table and not go, "Aw."
There's a picture on the ScareFest website. I don't know if it's on mobile on the front page, but somewhere on the ScareFest page is a picture of Bruce Campbell petting Toby. He stopped at Mick's booth and he's like at the dog. And
groovy.
Yeah, groovy dog, man.
Well, there's a lot of stuff with a lot of the guests coming in this year that the folks are going to be able to do, whether they're getting costume pictures. You can come get a costume picture with me. There's tons of other people doing regular pictures. You know, Emily Kenny, of course, is going to be there. And then
I'm going to go through the whole list. I figured we got a few.
Yeah, let's go. We got time. Let's go
through it all. We got Adrienne King.
Yes.
I mean, you can't go wrong there. Friday 13th, you guys are stacked with it again. Amy Steele, and then
the Pitchfork.
McLean. awesome. The Pale Girl from Terrifier 2. We were just talking about Mr. Bill Moseley here. Awesome guy. Bone Tomahawk, such an underrated movie. Great movie. House of a Thousand Corpses. Otis rules. Chad Coleman, we were talking about that. The Orville, Walking Dead, Left 4 Dead video game for you video gamers. I'm a big fan of Tyrese's character from The Walking Dead. Still miss him to this day. And you guys we talked about connections of films you guys got. You're bringing in a lot of Sleepaway Camp people. You got Chris Collette. You got Clint Howard.
Oh, gosh, Clint Howard, man.
Yes, I just watched The Ice Cream Man the other day. Let's see. We got Damien Leone. I met him once. Daniel Harris, Halloween, 4 and 5. Most talented, one of the most talented child actors, I think, that there's been. Very underrated for what she did in those movies. And she was great in the Rob Zombie movies. I like the Rob Zombie movies. David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown himself, Emily Kinney, Felissa Rose, Sleepaway Camp, the new Unseen movie, also in Macabre Mountain, and the Slasher Nurse. Got to give her a shout out for that. Kane Hodder, super cool guy. I didn't think I was going to meet him last year. I told you the story. I was leaving, just about done packing up, and there he was doing private signing. We went over and talked to him for a while. And then you had Catherine on tonight on ScareFest TV. Yeah. What a great guest. I'm looking forward to meeting her. Sleepaway Camp is in my top 5 horror movies of all time. So,
wow.
Yeah, it really is. For some reason, that movie as a kid just left an impression on me. I don't know. It was just such a good movie, and shocking at the time when I watched it.
Mr. Conroy, Day of the Dead.
Yeah, a lot of Day of the Dead is coming to this.
Yeah,
super excited.
Yes. Day of the Dead, amazing. Romero movie, the 3rd installment of the zombie series, or Undead. We got Kimberly Beck coming, the final chapter. Friday the 13th, you guys kill it every year. Lori, I'm going to screw up her last name, Cardile. Am I saying right? From Day of the Dead. Cardo. My bad. I'm terrible. Melinda Clark, Return of the Living Dead 3.
It was just her birthday, so happy birthday, Melinda.
Oh, happy birthday. Hey.
And then here's the real star, the big announcement, Pablo Escobar.
Yep.
I'm so excited for that. I can't.
Oh, and then we got Mr. Rick Stasinski, the selfie guy himself, and I got to meet him down in Florida at MegaCon. So I got a bunch of his hots that I picked up.
And another thing about Rick is last year for ScareFest, Rick designed these awesome masks, and I don't have any because they were a limited run and we sold out of them. But because we had CJ and we had Kane, he did a part 6, part 8, Friday the 13th mashup mask. And we did just a really limited number of those and sold out. But I am talking to Rick, and we are going to be working on another ScareFest exclusive item.
Oh, nice.
For this year. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to do yet, but as soon as we know what it is, we're going to put that out there, and we will be taking, those will sell out before the show, whatever it is. We'll be offering them signed or unsigned. So awesome work, Rick.
And he's an awesome dude too. I spoke with him for quite a bit. And then Robert Mukes, also in 1,000 Corpses, and another one of my favorite movies.
The big man, 6'10".
Bone Tomahawk. I love that movie. So underrated. If anybody out there, if you haven't seen Bone Tomahawk yet, awesome movie. Check it out.
So cool thing about Robert, I'm trying to pull our messages up here real quick. I don't know if you all are going to be able to see this. I'm going to try to show it on my camera. Somebody out there might correct me. I can't remember if it was 2016 or 17. We had American Horror Story Freak Show reunion at ScareFest. And I don't know if you all ever watched American Horror Story or that season specifically. But there is one person that really stands out from that show in that season. Her name is Jyote Amaj. Jyote is from India, and she is the smallest living woman. She's 2 feet and 3/4 inches tall. Just so happened that same year, Robert was also at our show, And I'm going to try to get this up to the camera.
Oh, you know what? Hold on a sec. Let me put you on solo.
Okay.
That'll make it even easier. That way everybody can see it.
That is Jote Amage and Robert.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
6'10", Robert Mukes.
And she is 2 feet tall. And
Wow.
And just to a normal 5'3" person like me, she looked like a baby doll. And just wonderful. And that was so cool. I was like, Robert really wanted to meet her. She wanted to meet him. So I took her, and her parents came with her, and they had a translator because they don't speak English. So we all went over and they got that photo together. And I sent it to Robert last year when we were talking. And I was like, hey, I found this photo of you. I don't know if you ever got a copy of it. And that was really cool. So just quick little cool story about Robert Mukes. Continue.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting him. I have not had a chance to meet him yet.
Very nice guy.
That's what I've heard. I've heard great things. And those are the celebrities. When I hear somebody say like Felicity, everybody was like, oh, she's so great. It's almost like, let me test this out. I keep hearing how great she is. Let's see if this is true. And it usually is.
Let me kick him in the shin and see how that goes.
Sandy Johnson. Now I need her. She's one of the ones missing on my, I don't know if you can see it. Let me turn it over. My Michael Myers bust. So I gotta get her. Yes. So I'm excited to meet her. Judith Myers herself. I'm obviously a huge Michael Myers and Halloween fan. So yes, I'm excited about her being announced. Let me go back to guest list. There's just so much. Scout Taylor Compton. Do we even need to explain her? Sweet, super cool. Actually, the artist Michael Toth, on their stream, if you see the picture that's got all different things, it was supposed to be a sticker book. I gave it to them, Scout, last year, and they got it hanging on their streams. Cool. So if you see, so we always get to see Michael Toth, Doomsday's crypt artist out there, and he's done a lot of work for Brett as well. He'll be on the table.
Awesome.
So it's really cool. Jason X. I love Jason X. I know some people don't, but I'm excited to meet Steve. That's going to be a really, really cool guest right there. Now I'm going to have to get Jason X mask, the Uber Jason mask, to get signed for.
Well, but before you do that, hold off. I'm not exactly sure what Rick's going to be doing for us this year. That is one of the things that's being talked about. It's in play. So
I'm not gonna make any. I'm not gonna bring any.
No.
I want one for me to get signed. I'll probably buy one off for Rick.
Yeah, you're welcome to bring anything you like. I just meant before you go buy one for yourself.
Yeah.
See what Rick's cooking up, because I don't know seriously, or I would tell you, but I don't know. But that is one of the things we talked about.
Yeah, I spoke to Rick about coming on a show, either a DK and the Schwag or a DK and the Bees Horror Buzz. So we're gonna get him on at some point and talk to him. Super cool guy.
Yes.
I spoke with him for a little bit. It was a little crazy weekend. Then we got Terry Alexander, another Days of the Dead.
Come on, I love Terry.
Yes. Tom Savini, the legend. The Godfather, really.
The Godfather. Can't say much. You say Tom Savini, that's it. That's all you need to say.
Romero Savini. I mean, the master of zombies right there. And then I love Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Such a funny, hilarious
a funny movie.
Oh, so good. And Tyler Levine is amazing in that movie.
Wait a minute, who we missing?
Where's the Schwag?
Come on.
You got kicked out before you even got there. Sorry. We forgot to tell you, Brett, at the end of this stream. She just wanted to let you down easy.
All right. That's all right.
No,
I got hosed.
You know what? I'm glad that you said that, because Brandon is more than a week behind. You and RA got announced the same night, didn't you?
Yeah, we got RA Mihailoff and myself. I've known RA since I was 19 years old, so I always love going and doing a convention with him. So we'll get on there. I'm not worried about it.
Well, and then we just had some guest announcements tonight, which should be on the site now, not on the website, but on our Facebook.
Part 7, Tina. Also in Peter Anthony's Roseblood, reprising her role as Tina.
That's right.
Anthony, big shout out to the dude, the big man there. I know you're going to be working at some point with Peter Anthony soon.
Yeah, listen, I gotta tell you, I have everybody through our, from meeting you, John, I have picked up a whole bunch of movies from folks that come on, which is great, and I appreciate it. I got another. We got this stuff in the works. Plus, look, we're real excited. You and I are going to be doing a whole bunch of shows this year. So if you folks get a chance, you watch us. When we do our podcasts, and if you see
the new VHS boxes too, the DK and the Schwag, the TK and the Bees, we got the Doomsday.
I'm bringing 100 sledgehammers. So, folks, if you're coming to ScareFest, and I do the first kill in the 2003 remake with the sledgehammer. So my buddy does these really, really, really good bloody prop sledgehammers. In fact, when I met Adrienne, I met her at another convention in Cincinnati.
Yep.
And it was so busy and so crazy that I had 17 sledgehammers. I'm like, well, that should last me the weekend. But it lasted me 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I said, well, for ScareFest, because John's been talking it up and everybody else I know that has been talking it up how busy it is, I'm bringing 100 sledgehammers, Adrienne. 100.
Yeah.
100, and you get one of those.
Brett's gonna have some killer merch for sure.
Yeah, we're real excited.
On your VHS boxes as we speak too.
That's right.
So the art is for Brett's VHS box. I don't know if I've shown any of them. We'll show the CJ Graham one.
Put you back.
We had them.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
And then
we're
back there. I got the original art sitting around here, and of course it's I can't see it. Got a little bit of glare. But inside we got stickers. We got these updated even more. So the new boxes are even better than the old boxes. And
so make sure, folks, when you come to ScareFest, go besides seeing all the celebs that are going to be there, go buy the Doomsday's Crypt tables. Say hello to John. Get over there, take a look at the stuff. If you see Adrienne walking around, she's going to be walking around with her head cut off. She's going to be busy. But make sure you say hello and tell her, hey, I watched you on the podcast, DK. And the Schwag. So, listen, Adrienne, we really appreciate you coming on tonight and pulling up the curtain a little bit, opening it up like the Great Oz, and telling people how a big convention works. And we're really excited, and both of us are very gracious that you came on, and we're very, thank you guys for, of course, having me come out, because this will be my first ScareFest, and I'm super pumped and excited, and I'm super pumped and excited to come see you again and hang out with your crew, because that's what we like doing. We like to meet everybody that's working there and say hello. So we're super pumped up and excited. So the 20th, where are we in September?
October 20th.
October. I'm getting my months. October 20th through the 22nd, Lexington, Kentucky. ScareFest. What is the website folks need to go to?
So scarefestweekend.com is our website, and just a couple of things about the weekend for anyone that is listening that maybe wants to get tickets. Our Friday is Hero Day. So anybody that is police, firefighter, EMS, nurse, doctor, active or veteran military, bring your ID when you come on Friday. You get in totally for free.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Anybody that comes that any of those things, that's also on our website. Kids 12 and under are free all weekend. Sunday is Kids Day. So we try to do some special events specifically for children. And not only that, but our vendors, they get an email before the show letting them know that we also do a trick or treat on Sunday. So any vendor that wants to participate in trick or treat gets a red balloon that they can put up in their booth, and kids can come in, and we give them a goodie bag at the door that they can take around. And that we do kids costume contest and kids trivia, kids scream contest, stuff like that. So that's a really cool thing. And then we also do have like a lot of free events that go on through the weekend. We have an indie film festival that goes the entire weekend, and that is free for anybody that has a ScareFest ticket. We will post a schedule of shorts and full feature films that are selected, and we do give away prizes to the filmmakers that win that. We have a costume contest for our cosplayers that is a $500 cash prize for first place.
Holy cow.
That's on Saturday. Last year we had aerialists that performed during the show. They had silks set up. We had an illusionist that did 5 shows throughout the weekend. That was on the floor. So really, guys, there's so much that I can't talk about all of it, but our social medias, ScareFest, we have a group page on Facebook that has a lot of our vendors. Brett's in there, John's in there. So anybody that, you know, has any questions about the show, you can @ me on there. It's Adrienne Deakins Elder. If you ever have any questions, we're really on there all the time to make everyone have a really great experience at the show. That's what we want. Everyone that comes, we want you to have the best time that you can. So any questions, feel free to
and let's put it out there, folks. It's going to be busy. So if you think about it and you have the dates free over the next couple of weeks, might be a good time to get on the website, get your tickets now, just so you don't have to worry about it. Because there's nothing worse than a month out from a show going everything. When they start saying things are sold out, VIP sold out, Friday sold out, Saturday sold out, Sunday sold out. It's a good time to take a look at it right now. Get it marked off in your calendar.
Yeah,
and reserve that hotel. And you want to look into the hotels. You want to make sure that they don't come with cockroaches, unless you like cockroaches.
Yeah, I mean, there's some friendly cockroaches in Kentucky.
Yes.
You know, besides a house cats walk up and mug you if you're not careful. But that is, you know, we're in a convention hall. So our vendor room, the celebrity and vendor room, is 100,000 square feet. And never in our wildest dreams did we ever think that we would come close to selling out. But last year, we came very close to having to stop ticket sales at the door, guys, because the fire marshal and the codes, like, we have to take that into consideration. So it is a big space, but there is a very real possibility that, you know, tickets at the door or even before, some of the tickets might get cut off. So yeah, that's great advice. If you are interested, go ahead and check out scarefestweekend.com and get your tickets, and definitely look at booking a hotel room, because some of the hotels are already
Oh yeah. I had to remind John. Listen, you told me.
I still got to get. I think I still got to get Taunton, because I don't think they put that up yet. And I think I got the one in Moline, Illinois. I got to double check on that. But other than that, I know I got ScareFest all set.
Yes.
And I got the Crypticons all set. I know that.
And Airbnb, folks. You can get the hotels. You can Airbnb, but just plan ahead, because there's nothing worse than when you sit there and you go someplace. You know, okay, I got my tickets, but now I don't got a place to stay. It's plan ahead. We're super excited. We got to have we had the event manager, Adrienne Elder, on today. From ScareFest. Thank you so much, Adrienne. I mean, it's like you've done this before or something, because you're so smooth.
Never. You all
and check out ScareFest on Facebook and Instagram. They do a live show on Facebook. We try to share it in the Doomsday's Crypt group. Thank you so much, Adrienne. Thanks again, Big Schwag. Awesome doing the show with you once again. Sunday we have Jerry Montano coming on, who played with Rat, or Steve Percy from Rat. Hell yeah. Danzig, the guy's a legendary bassist. So that's going to be a fun show on Sunday night. Rock it up. He's a big horror fan too, so we'll be talking some horror also. And we will see you Sunday night, October 20th, 22nd, ScareFest, Kentucky. Peace out.